Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to another Power Rangers theory video revolving around Lord Zedd. Now this theory video was inspired by a comment from somebody, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name right now. If future me remembers, I'll put your name up on screen. But it was an idea about this video regarding Lord Zedd's resurrection, because in Dino Fury they state that Lord Zedd was resurrection and reincarnated from his most evil, when he was most evil. And that led a lot of people to question, well, when does that mean? Exactly what time was Zedd resurrected from? Was it pre-MMPR? Was it MMPR Season 2, Season 3, or beyond? And that's kind of what this video is going to be about, is speculating and discussing at what point in time was Zedd revived for? Which version of him was revived? You know, what that could mean for his character depending on the time, and what I think about it. So, to start off, I think that this question is primarily raised because of all of the controversy back in the day about Zedd having to be toned down because of complaining parents, and he had to be kind of calibrated to not be so evil and menacing, so when he married Rita he became a little bit more comedic and lighter. So I think that's the primary reason this question comes up. Is this pre-Zedd, or is this pre-Zedd Zedd? Is this pre-Zedd Rita or post-Rita Zedd? Yes, there we go, I got that right. So I think that's the primary reason. But let's talk about the options of who this could be. Or not who is this? I think it's Ed, actually. It's actually the version Rito sees in his head. Let's talk about the possible versions this could be. So number one, it could be a version of Zedd before MMPR, before he arrived on Earth completely. Now, I find this one to be fairly unlikely. He hasn't made a concrete reference to place him in the timeline as far as MMPR goes, but I get a feeling whether he appears one or more times, there'll be some sort of throwaway line that indicates his past with the Mighty Morphin Rangers. So I'm going to assume this is unlikely, but it's certainly interesting to think about a version of Zedd before the MMPR stuff. But considering one of the primary reasons of this is nostalgia pandering, I can't imagine them doing a version that wouldn't remember any of the events from the series. So it's still a possibility. I won't fully rule it out, and some of the character beats from the one I'm about to discuss could work for this, but I don't think this one's possible. The second option is pre-Rita Zedd, meaning basically primary Season 2 Zedd before Rita arrived when he was most menacing and evil. Now I think this would be the most interesting one, because if they decide to give him any sort of character, you could have a storyline about how Zedd finds out, kind of like Loki when he got pulled out of the timeline from Endgame. He's like a variant, and he got to watch Ragnarok and Endgame, or Infinity War, and see what happened to him. So imagine this version of Zedd, Season 2, getting, resurrected from that point in time in his life, and he finds out that he married Rita and became soft, and those actions ultimately led him to becoming purified, and he's so disgusted with it that he wants to prove he's the most evil. I think that could be the most interesting character-wise. And like I said a minute ago, this could also apply to a pre-MMPR Zedd. If this is Zedd before he arrived on Earth, found out once he arrived on Earth it was all downhill from there, and desired to reclaim his power as the most evil emperor, which he can't because that title belongs to the Senate, Palpatine. You're never going to come close, Zedd. Stop trying. That type of story could apply, but I just imagine that there'll be some sort of dialogue reference to the Mighty Morphin team, so I just don't see them doing a pre-MMPR Zedd. But that storyline about him wanting to, effectively fix what happened to Zedd and prove he's evil could work for both of these Zeds. Now again, the third option is post-Rita Zedd, and this is him after he married her, and I think the only way we'll find out is in dialogue of some sort. I mean, you could also get that same exact story of him remembering marrying Rita and all that, and just shunning that, or saying, I married Rita, but that was a mistake, look what's going to happen to me. So you could basically get that same character story for all three versions, but this is kind of the one I think people want to know about. Is it more a hardcore pre-Love Potion Zedd, or is it post-Love Potion Zedd? Now, what do I think? I mean, I think the only ways we're going to find out is if they make it a story point, that for his character motivations, like I just mentioned, or if there's just some sort of quick dialogue, maybe even a quip that gives you some context. And if we don't find out anything from the show at all, I think the only other way we'll know for sure is if the writers or producers tell us if they have had any intention or gave it any thought. I'm not even sure if they gave it any thought, whether it was pre or post Rita. I think that it'll just all be about what the story's about and what the dialogue says about it. My thing is, though, I think, it would probably be most interesting if it was Season 2 pre-Rita Zedd. Not because, they ruined him, but because I think that gives them the most interesting motivation. That being said, even if we do find out, I'm just going to say, as of this recording, I've only seen his one appearance, because the rest of it hasn't happened yet. So if you're in the future, I don't know if he's going to appear one more time, I don't know if he's going to be a main villain for Season 2, but he's only appeared in one episode. But just based on my guesstimate, from what I've seen of how Lord Zedd feels and acts in episode 14. Even if we do find out if he's pre-Rita or post-Rita, I don't think that's going to affect the way he feels as a villain. Like, even now, like, I'm not saying they did a bad job. Like, I think the costume looks great. I think he felt powerful and bulkier. But he still felt like B-list Zedd, like a weird Strandcast clone thing. And it didn't feel like either version of Zedd to me. So even if we concretely find out it's Season 2 Zedd or Season 3 Zedd, I don't think it's going to affect how threatening he feels. Because right now he still feels like a faux version, in a way. Again, I'm not trying to, like, pile on and say, oh, it's bad and I'm ruining it. But I'm just saying, you know, I don't see anything so far in the performance that makes me think that's definitely pre-Rita Zedd. I think he's still just going to feel rather generic. But what do you guys think? What time period do you want to have seen Lord Zedd resurrected from? And I want to be clear, it's not time travel. He didn't get pulled out of the timeline. But I want to know which version you'd want to see and how you'd like to see that affect the plot. And whether or not you feel, based on his appearance, that you think he's from a specific era. Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.